welcome to SMTV Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Ryan Miller.
Some really interesting news stories to bring you today. We talked, this was probably a couple months ago, when LinkedIn first rolled out this influencer list, so you can actually follow the big talkers on LinkedIn. Richard Branson, first to reach 1 million followers.
What did he win?
Plane. Wait a minute. I think he has
he
several
owns a few of those. Yeah, anyways.
So Sir Richard Branson, and this is his influencer profile on LinkedIn, has 1 million and counting, 1,010,000 or so. So clearly there is some success with this influencer program.
Yes, it's interesting. So the real value here is how can it be used to leverage for business? Now, obviously, because it's Richard Branson, he's got his brands associated with everything, and he can naturally work that in. But it's going to be interesting to see how we can kind of work that for small to mid-sized businesses and on up.
And as far as I know, you still have to apply for consideration as an influencer. So we will actually, we'll see how this branches out and see how far it gets where people can actually become an influencer themselves for their industry.
If you've got a really small space and you are the thought leader,
right?
How does that work? What does that look like? So it'll be interesting to see that kind of come out over the next few months here.
Switching gears over to Facebook. Facebook hacked their own employees' accounts.
You know, I'd be a little upset at first, but then once we figure out why, it kind of makes sense.
And once you find out that you win a T-shirt at the end, you don't win a plane like Richard Branson did.
Right.
So in order to promote their own the security and cybersecurity awareness, Facebook hacked into its employees' accounts to see who would actually notice and who would report these phishing scam attempts.
You know, it's a really good test, just to nice and controlled. You don't freak out the public or anything, and see how your people react to stuff. I mean, it's just like a fire drill.
Right.
The one thing that it's really got me thinking over the past, I would say 6 months, we really haven't seen a lot of Facebook issues with major scams, major phishing. Because for a while there, it was pretty touch and go. I mean, even for us at Splash Media, we were pretty cautious with our clients and things like that. But I think they've really stepped up their game.
They have, and you can see in this example of a person using a cover photo on their personal profile how Facebook is just kind of behind the scenes catching this stuff. So this is an example that one of the Mashable writers here posted on as his cover photo an image from Doctor Who. So it's a copyrighted image. Actually, the image itself came from a press portion of the website. So there's some debate there whether or not the image was fair use or not. Regardless, Facebook was able to kind of tag that and take it down. So it's interesting to see how this is actually working in real time.
It is, and that really kind of hits the point we're getting at here, which is the privacy policies within Facebook and what that looks like. And if content is posted on your personal page, is it yours? Well, the answer is yes. But if you're using anything graphics-wise, you got to be really careful.
You do.
At the end of the day, you really have to watch out what you're using from Google Images. I mean, a lot of that stuff, frankly, is kind of off limits as far as that goes. So just, always got to be careful.
And in a certain sense, with a page, Facebook is a little bit more lenient because the rule is you can't promote, but anything you put up on your page is a promotion. Can be construed as a promotion. Yeah, so I think there's a little bit more leniency there as far as the cover photo.
It's interesting.
And also interesting to this in conjunction with the recent news about Facebook considering removing voting from how they distribute their policy. So before, Facebook had the ability for users to vote on, do we want this privacy policy, do we want this other policy? And they're considering taking that away because it turned into this quantity over quality thing.
Sure.
So kind of interesting to see this in conjunction with that and how Facebook has decided to move forward in their privacy policy and in all of their other policies.
Oh, and to that note too, I mean, we don't know how many of those accounts are fake. I mean, we have this 1 billion accounts or whatever. I feel like I should say that 1 billion.
1 billion accounts, yeah.
So, but then they rectified some of that by making all those algorithm changes to flush all that out over the past month or so. But still, yeah, voting, I mean, it's just as screwed up as our normal system, so.
It's always good to know. At least there's some consistency. The last article we'll bring up today will end on something of a light note. It's funny. It's a very serious topic. So earlier this month, just a couple days ago actually, the UN proposed a resolution for a two-state solution for Israel and Palestinians. And the UN tweet that went out had a pretty significant typo.
Yeah, it's the difference really of about a millimeter.
I'll read it for our audience here. On Day of Solidarity with Palestinians, Ban Ki-moon stresses urgency of reaching one-state solution.
Oopsies.
And of course, what was great about this article, and it points out that the author of this tweet, because we know who the UN Information Officer is. So she's the author of this tweet, Nancy Gross, and she quickly apologized and said that she ran into a telephone conference immediately after typing this, didn't have a chance to change it, but at least we see some acknowledgement of the mistake here.
And and I think that's really good. Of course, any mistake you make in social media, you're human. We are human, and this is just an extension of our humanisms.
Right.
We make mistakes, and you just got to own up to it. In some cases, they're bigger deals. Like this is a big deal.
Right.
If we remember about a year ago, the company who was managing the Chrysler accounts up in Detroit made that F-bomb about traffic from the wrong Hootsuite account. Oh. Epic fail.
It's interesting.
Pretty funny.
It is. It's interesting to kind of categorize what we call these. We call them as fails, but it's interesting to kind of categorize them because there are some that are user error because of managing multiple accounts, like the Chrysler one. There's some that are just typos, like this one, but it could be a pretty significant typo. And there's some that are just in bad taste. We've seen that with several companies who, after Hurricane Sandy and these other, the Egypt uprising, all these world events, taking advantage of that to promote their business and really coming across as not so nice to their consumers.
Right. So the takeaway here is the difference between 1 and 2 is 1.
Thanks for tuning in to watch another episode of SMTV. For everyone at Splash Media, I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Ryan Miller, and thanks for watching.